Alright, how do we approach playing a little bit of lead? Well, I'll start this in amongst a bit of got an A minor 7th here. If you slide that up 2 frets, play all the other notes open. If you can sure, so I've got an A minor 7th there with my hand. I'm not sure whether you can see that clearly on the lens. Now I'll throw in a D12, a D chord, D major, which is one of the A-type bar chords, and I might even throw in, say, an E minor. Now, what are all these notes I'm playing? When I learnt to play lead, I did it, I was self-taught. I recorded 10 minutes of me playing a 12 bar on the cassette deck. So there was 12 minutes of this. Etc, etc. And I made a chart of the neck. And I wrote down all the notes on it that sounded like they fitted with a 12 bar. So I'd start with... that one obviously does fit. That's A there too, that fits. So I wrote those all down. They're the root notes of my scale. I'm playing in the key of A, starting on A, finishing on A. The song's in the key of A. It's A minor actually. So I'm playing an A minor scale. Now, I didn't know that at the time. All I did was simply write out all the notes that fitted to my ear with what I was playing. Maybe. So I write a man in a different colour. Yep, that one fitted. I wasn't sure about that one, left that one out. Yeah, that one fitted. Nah, definitely didn't. And that's how I did. So what I ended up with was an A minor scale. And I didn't know it at the time, because I wasn't up with keys and scales and all that sort of stuff, but I was playing in the key of A, and I'd written down these notes. A minor, as it turns out, an A minor scale. Now what I did, you can leave, say, 2 of those out. I would probably leave, you could leave the B out, that one there, leave your, maybe leave the F out. And that leaves me with 5 notes. That's actually called a pentatonic minor scale. There was my basic pattern. Now what I'll do is I'll get a copy of this. There's probably one on the internet, but I'll get a copy of it. If you need a copy of it, private message me through YouTube, give me your email and I'll send you out a copy of it. Easy done. So that was my first pattern. And my first lead breaks sounded pretty Chinese. They pretty much sounded like what I just played. You have to learn to stagger your notes a little bit, stagger your timing, I should say. Some jumps from one note to the other, like... Now I'm doing some slides there too. I'll pick a note and I'll slide to the next one. Occasionally I'll bend the note. So instead of sliding, much easier done on the electric guitar. This is probably going to do me damage if I try and do it too much on the acoustic. Sometimes you can play 2 notes together. And I bent 2 notes then. Bit of vibrato. So the thing is to find out where your root notes are. There's an A there, A there, A there. Get familiar with them because that's sort of where you're going to be basing your lead break around. They're your sort of your homing spots, if you like, where you can sort of, if you get a little bit lost, jump back to them. I mean, whole songs have been written like that, isn't it? Mistreated, Deep Purple or something like that. Other things that I tend to do too is pull-offs and hammer-ons. I will pick a note and I'll pluck it with my finger. That's called a pull-off. And that's a hammer-on. So you've got to pull off, pick the note, then you pluck the next note with the same finger that you just picked, and you can hammer that back on. Another way I like to practice these scales is triplets, Thin Lizzy. So you're going sort of 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6 sort of thing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the timing. Down 3, come back 1. Down 3, come back 1. Down 3, come back 1. All the time when you're doing this, up, down, up, down, up, down, alternate picking strokes, always up, down, up, down. If you're just going to use all down strokes, you'll never get very fast, so right from the get-go, alternate picking strokes. See there, I'm throwing in some pull-offs. That's a pull-off. Here's a pull-off. Another one. Another one. And you'll hear Thin Lizzy do that all the time. Two notes that sound good together. Those two, those two, those two, those two, these two. I use that a lot. There's your root note there. So get really super familiar with, that's your first pattern. And I tend to slide up into the second one. I don't tend to play there for some reason. I always tend to slide back up here and finish back on. That was something else I did. Sometimes I'll do 3 together. Pick the first note, hammer that one on, hammer that one on. But I do it really quick, so it's a sort of a slur, I think. Again there, a quick pick and a quick slide. I think I do that backwards. Now the sky is the absolute limit with this sort of stuff. I'll fire up the electric guitar for the next session and perhaps show you a few other things like two-handed stuff where you're hammering on, pulling off with that finger. All that sort of stuff. Not terribly good at it, but I can at least show you the mechanics of it. And oh, now here's a good bend too. Up in the second pattern bit here, bend that note up to the E, There's your root note A again. Ah, now, what did I do there? I bent up, and then I picked it, bent it down, pulled off, sounded that note below it. Sky's the limit with this. You'll get as good as how much you practice. If you don't practice like me, you'll just end up yeah, so-so. If you stick heaps of time in, you'll end up like Van Halen or Satriani, and you know those guys are just magicians. But they put the hours in to do it, and it's all a question of hours. I like the A minor 7th, the open A minor 7th there. Love that. And then move it up 2 frets.